The story begins on a suffocating September evening when the first autumn rains began washing the soot from the factory district's brick walls. I was nursing a cheap whiskey at the Rusty Nail when the old man approached me. His hands trembled not from age, I would learn, but from 50 years of terrible knowledge. "You're the reporter," he stated more than asked. His yellowed eyes gleamed with something between pity and grim satisfaction. "Then you'll want to see this." From his moth-eaten overcoat, Petrovich produced a water-stained ledger filled with meticulous handwriting. The pages contained a chronological nightmare, dates, weather patterns, and names stretching back to 1912. 17 entries in the last 5 years alone. "Every heavy rain," he whispered, his breath reeking of vodka and despair, "it comes back hungry." His cracked fingernail tapped the most recent entry, Miakovic, 10/14, yesterday's date. Over the next 3 days, I became obsessed. The city archives confirmed Petrovich's claims. Disappearances clustered around major storms near the old textile mill. The police reports all mention the same eerie detail: victims' personal items found neatly arranged against a solid brick wall where no alley existed. The meteorological records revealed an even more disturbing pattern. Annual rainfall had increased 12% since 1912, and with it, the frequency of disappearances. The alley was feeding more often. When the storms returned, I set up surveillance with 4 night vision cameras, a thermal imager, and audio equipment worth more than my car. For 72 hours, nothing. Then at 3:17 a.m., as the rain reached torrential levels, the impossible happened. The brick wall between the hat factory and butcher shop began breathing. The thermal camera showed the entire structure heating from within. Then, with a sound like tearing cartilage, the building separated, revealing a passageway that defied physics. It extended much farther than the block's dimensions should allow. Armed with a backup camera and industrial flashlight, I entered. The walls weren't brick but something organic covered in a brick-like pattern. They pulsed rhythmically, exuding warm fluid that smelled of blood and damp earth. At exactly 33 paces, the temperature dropped 20 degrees. My flashlight revealed the horrifying truth: the walls were composed of compressed human remains, their faces frozen in eternal screams. One section contained at least 7 distinct skulls fused together. The whispers began as I reached the halfway point. Not from the walls, but from beneath my feet. The cobblestones had become translucent, revealing dozens of trapped figures floating in amber-like fluid. Their mouths moved in unison with the voices in my head. Most horrifying was seeing Miakovic, her school uniform still visible, pressed against the floor just inches below my boots. Her tiny hands left smears on the underside of the stones as she mimed the words I now heard clearly: "Join us." The alley ended at a police uniform from the 1970s, perfectly preserved in the wall like a museum exhibit. The badge identified Officer A. Petrovich. In the breast pocket, a faded photo of young Petrovich standing before this very alley, his face twisted in terror as something unseen pulled him backward. The ledger's first entry matched the date of his disappearance in 1973. He hadn't been warning me, he'd been recruiting. When I turned to flee, the alley had grown longer. The walls now displayed recent victims in various states of assimilation. The final horror was seeing my own face beginning to form in the organic matter. I only escaped because the rain stopped abruptly at dawn. The alley expelled me violently, leaving me unconscious in the street with second-degree burns where the fluid had touched my skin. They found Petrovich's body in his apartment, dead for weeks according to the coroner. My footage was dismissed as an elaborate hoax. But I know the truth. The alley is still there, growing larger with each feeding. The Weather Service reports our region's rainfall increasing exponentially each year. Last night, I heard scratching at my door, and the unmistakable sound of wet bricks grinding together. The forecast calls for eternal storms. The alley is hungry. And it knows my name.